morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire. Welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, today's support, resistance, and pivot levels, and the Fibonacci's. It is Saturday, the 10th of April. Looking at Bitcoin against the US dollar, relatively bullish start to the day. Going to need to see Bitcoin move through the pivot at 58,245 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 58,777. We'll need support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out from 58,500 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 59,000 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, continue to see Bitcoin target resistance at 60,000 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 59,420. Failure to move back through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 57,602 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear sub 57,000 levels. Second major support level at 57,070 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, you've got a widening of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day. Suggests there's some downside ahead, so we need to keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, however, it's a bullish indicator with the 50 pulling away from the 100 and the 200 after yesterday's late afternoon bullish cross. So key through the early part of the day, move back through the pivot at 58,245 and through to 58,500 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will come into play. To Ethereum against the US dollar, it's a relatively bullish start today. Going to need to see Ethereum move back through the pivot at 2072 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 2095. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 2090 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 2100 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Ethereum target 2150s before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 2123. Failure to move back through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 2043 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should stay clear of sub 2000 levels. The second major support level at 2020 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACD, we have a slight narrowing of the bullish histograms, but nothing suggestive of a bullish morning ahead. So keep an eye on that. On the EMA, the 50 has moved away marginally from the 100 and 200, but nothing conclusive. So also need to monitor the EMA. So key through the early part of the day, move back through the pivot at 2072 and back through to 2090 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will come into play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, relatively positive start today. Going to need to see Litecoin move through the pivot at 223 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 227. We'll need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break out from 225 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 228.96 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, we continue to see Litecoin likely to target 240 levels before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 233. Failure to move through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 217 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should stay clear of sub 210 support levels. Second major support level at 213 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, we've got a widening of the bearish histograms at the turn of the day, suggesting some downside this morning. So you need to monitor that. On the EMAs, also a slightly bearish indicator with the 50 closing in on the 100 and the 200. So failure to move through the pivot at 223 will bring support levels into play. Bring it across to Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, positive start to the day. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP avoid a fallback through the pivot at 1.0273 to take a run at the first major resistance level, staying at 1.0744. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break back through to 1.07 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and yesterday's high at 1.08327 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Ripple's XRP target 1.2s before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1.1304. Failure to avoid a fallback through the pivot level would bring the first major support level at 0.9712 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 0.95. Second major support level sits at 0.9241. Looking at the MACDs, we had a Bearish cross at the turn of the day suggests there's some downside ahead, so keep an eye on that. On the EMA, the 50 has also flattened on the 100 and the 200, so inconclusive there. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fallback through the pivot at 1.0273 and move back through to 1.07 levels to then target 1.1s and 1.2 resistance. Failure to do that and support levels are in play.